Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be working on this Shimano XTR M960 rear derailleur. I already made a video on this before, but I'd like to do a newer version since I've got better equipment now since the last video. So this particular derailleur is not like your classic derailleur, it's reverse shifting or reverse geared, which means that the derailleur automatically goes to the larger cog instead of the smaller one like on a classic derailleur. So the reason that Shimano made this derailleur was mainly for mountain bikers that need to go from let's say a flat surface to an inclined surface, and this derailleur will make it easier for you to shift onto a larger cog, which is what you're most likely to do when you're going to go onto an inclined surface. Now on paper this was a good idea. Unfortunately it wasn't very popular. The shifters are pretty ugly as well, if I'm quite honest. The derailleur itself is really beautiful. It's got this lovely shiny finish on it, just like my Ultegra derailleur that I have, and it's very sleek as well. It's quite light. I'm going to dismantle this and I'm going to rebuild it again, and I'm actually going to try it with some grip shifts. It's going to be an 8-speed, but I'd like to see actually how it feels like with some grip shifters and not their dual lever things that they had, because I think for rapid fire shifters it's a bit hard to just relearn how to use the shifters if you've been used to them, and I think that's the reason why they were not so popular. So let's begin. So first thing we're going to do is remove the pulley wheels. You'll need a number 3 to take those off. I've already serviced this derailleur, and initially the springs and the pivots were quite rusty inside, so mine's now obviously much cleaner than yours might be. Next thing we're going to do is remove this screw right here, screw bolt. So you're going to need to either incline it back when you're doing that, and then you can get access to that little screw right there. Now once you've done that, you can hold this and let go. At the back here you're going to have another bolt to remove, and for that one you're going to need a number 5 to access the bottom knuckle. Bit of rust since I'm going to clean that up and I'm going to put some new grease. So let's push this, there's going to be a spacer right here normally. Yeah. Put that to the side. Let's push that bolt through now. There's a small sill there if you want to take that off as well to give it really a deep clean. Oh, by the way, behind that bolt that we removed, there's a small thin washer to take off. We can now remove the spring, and there's a sill just here. We'll leave that on. Let's remove the B tension screw. If you want, you can take off the limit screws. I'm not going to, but you can if you want. Now we're going to work on the top knuckle. There's a clip at the back here. Sometimes it's on the other side. Then you need to move it towards this part here where there's an opening. So you need something flat to catch onto it and pull it out. Be careful as this part here sometimes flickers open, so you can either push down or let go completely. Now be careful here, this can flicker off and hurt your finger. So I'm going to just lift up, and it's actually just come off on its own. So underneath here you have that B tension screw stopper plate. Put that to the side. There's a seal, and then there's a spring, longer tip going towards the bottom, and we can remove that bolt, the hanger bolt. There's a seal on that hanger bar if you want to work on that, remove that as well. Behind that there's a seal, we can take that off as well, clean that behind there. I don't think I did that last time. If you want, you can remove the anchor bolt and whatever to really get into there and clean everything. So I'm going to give the old grease a bit of a wipe down, and I'm going to add on some new grease, and I'll let you get on with doing that as well. Everything's clean now. Crazy how much things I'd missed out on the initial video. So now at least it's cleaner now, better than before. I'm going to add on some grease onto the springs and the pivots. So now I'm using Motorex 2000 grease for this. It's pretty much my preferred and favorite grease now. First thing we're going to do is work on the bottom knuckles. So we're going to grab this cage plate for the pulley wheels, and we're going to grab that tiny little thin spacer, and we're going to put it on top of the this bolt. Oops, this bolt. Put the spacer first, and pop that through to the other side. On top of that there's a spacer that we can now put back on. Next there's a seal. Mine doesn't seem to really seat very well into this part of the knuckle, so I'm going to just stick it at the bottom of this. Now there's going to be a coil spring, so one tip's slightly shorter. You're going to want to put it into one of the two holes. On the left it's more tension. I'm going to put it into that one. Now the other tip of that coil spring is going to go into the hole at the back of the knuckle inside here. So you need to aim for that. Okay, it's gotten hold. We can now push down slightly, and we're going to screw down this bolt using the number 5. Be careful not to cross thread. Now, just like on the removal, we're going to tension up this spring, and we're going to put that little bolt that screws down right here, the stopper bolt. So I'm going to prepare that with a screwdriver. And we're going to tension that up. And you can now let go. Now here for the top bolt, there was a small seal that I had removed before. I'm going to put that back on. I'm going to put the bolt through as well. Okay, now on the back of this you're going to have another coil spring and a seal. So for this spring, the larger tip of that coil spring is going to go inside. So aim for the hole at the back again. Now grab the B tension screw stopper plate, stick that seal there, and the other tip of that spring is going to go into the hole. Okay, that's on. Now grab an Allen key, a 2.5 in preference, to fit through that hole. We're going to position it in this way. Going to get my hand, and we're going to turn until that little part here, that folded part, is going to go in front of the stopper. So I'm going to turn around, and now we can push down. Now hold this down with your finger. You don't want it to suddenly jump into your nail. Grab the clip and put it into the wedge on the back of that bolt. Grab a plier. And there you go. Back in. Let's put that B tension screw back on. Let's stick back these pulley wheels, jockey wheels. And then the bottom one, make sure to put the G pulley wheel on the top. I haven't looked at the technical manual, but it looks like here there would have been possibly clips originally. Okay, done now. So I'm going to install this and see how this works out on a grip shift. Right, so I'm setting this up now. I'm a little bit confused about which way to do this. I'm guessing I have to. I'm going to put it onto the biggest cog at the back, and then I'm going to, I guess, slacken the cable to 8th gear on the shifter, so that when I pull on this, I'm guessing it's going to go towards the smaller cog. Let's find out anyway. Yeah, so that looks like that worked. I've tested the quick shift in the house, and I think it's going to function. So you definitely need to put the gear into 8th gear on your shifter, pull the cable tight, and as long as it's on the last cog when you're installing this, and then after it should shift. So now we're going to test it, and then I'm going to tell you what it's like. I tested it outside, and without even adjusting any limit screws, I can instantly see that I'm enjoying this derailleur, and I'm going to definitely keep it. I'm going to probably sell the longer cage XTR M950. I find this one really satisfying with grip shifts. I'm going to just show you quickly. Obviously it's not fully adjusted, but I find it satisfying. So thank you for listening. Hope this was interesting, and I hope you managed to service your derailleur and potentially reuse it again. Until next time, peace out.